Hello, everyone. Jimmy here, MyOnlineGuy. Firstly, just let us know if you can hear me coming through all right. We're on location at the moment. We're actually in a holiday house in Granite, and ironically, this is a chat about working full time with your significant other and marriage and business. But as you can see, Pauline is not here yet. She just had to run, so she's coming back in a second. But in the meantime, let's just check audio. I wish this was the holiday house we're staying in, but we're actually staying in a place called Moore River, which is north of Perth. Beautiful spot. Bit of fishing going to happen after this, but I really wanted to get on and do this stream. So this is the real background here, and yeah. While we're waiting for Pauline to jump on, just let me know how the audio is going. Make sure that it's working fine. It looks like she's just sorting herself out now. So, yeah. So, again, wait till Pauline gets on. But today's topic is something that I've wanted to talk about for a while. It's okay. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Bridgewater. Appreciate that. Yeah, I just have to wait for Pauline to jump on. But yeah, today's topic is an interesting one. Something I've wanted to talk about for a while, and I thought while Pauline and I are actually here and together and technically starting our holidays, what a great time to talk about relationships, working full-time business together, and that kind of thing. So, like I said, ironically, Pauline is on her way. She just needs to. She's just helping her mum back a car in. But yeah. So, guys, as always, if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll endeavour to answer them. While we're waiting for Pauline. Yeah, obviously this is a bit of a bare neck topic, not a topic that we talk about very often, and I don't think it's talked about often enough about the positives and negatives of being in a relationship while working full time together. There's a lot of risk involved with it, but there's also a lot of positives if it's done properly and done from a point of respect. So, like I said, Pauline will be sitting here next to me in a couple of seconds. So it could be a good time to go get a coffee or go to the toilet or what have you. Sort out what you need to do while we're waiting. So while we're waiting, how's everyone's week been? We've had a pretty productive week. We snuck away a day early. It's actually a public holiday on Monday in Western Australia. So we thought we'd sneak away. The kids had a school development day as well. And we thought it'd be a great opportunity to sneak away and get a little bit of fishing in and just time by the river. But yeah, how's everyone else's week been so far? Oh, 1 sec. I think Pauline's coming back now. Just 1 second, guys. How you going, babe? All right, she's on her way. She's running, but we're into it. So here she is. I can see her. Yeah, fair enough. We're already started. So.
All right.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. So for those who don't know, this is Pauline. She's the other half of MyOnlineGuy, and a very important part. I'll let Pauline introduce herself, but I'll just reiterate what we're saying because it's pretty important to talk about. The reason I wanted to make this video specifically today is that I think this is not a topic that's talked about often enough, but it's a lot of people in business especially face this, and that's working with their significant other in business. And Paul and I have been working together for a while now, and it has ups and downs, and it's been a roller coaster, but we managed to both work together full time in the business, along with all the rest of the team, some of who's jumping in today. So Pauline, why don't you introduce yourself, and then we'll sort of get into today's topic.
Right. So I'm Pauline. I do all the administration and project management side of the business, which means I do all the paperwork, all the payroll, pretty much everything to do with the office. Obviously, I've got lots of helpers to help me, but Yeah, I've been doing office work since I left university. I've had multiple different jobs that I can probably count. I need probably 3 hands to count. I've done everything from being a park ranger to a person at the Santa photography booth. So I have a whole lot of skills in a whole lot of places.
And
That's me.
and we've been, just for context, we've been together now for 16 years and been married for 6 of them.
I don't know.
7 or 6. We've been married for
Very
a good portion of it, and we've been working together. We've been working together for about 3 years now, full time, basically.
Yeah.
So we'll just get straight into it, guys. Like I was saying, if you have any questions, just throw them in the chat, and we'll endeavour to answer them. We may have to go early as well, just depends on circumstances. We're currently running this whole thing off a phone, so hopefully the phone holds out. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, whack them in the chat. Because you don't have to necessarily be married to find value in this. But I think if you just work with someone that you're close to, the advice we're going to give today, and maybe you can learn a little bit from our experience. All right, so let's get straight into it. So yeah, like I said, a bit of background. MyOnlineGuy formally started in 2019.
Yep.
2019.
No, 2019 when we moved from Dalwallinu back to Mandurah. So we moved 5 days before Christmas because we're crazy, and then moved into the office 10 days after Christmas. So
and at the start it was just Pauline and myself. Pauline also has another business as well, which she does on the side. So we've been from day one sort of working together on MyOnlineGuy. And yeah, I really just wanted to start by, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Ooh, okay.
You know, so how have you found it so far working as closely as we do together?
It's been hard at certain points in time. It is good because obviously we've been together for so long that we do work quite well together. We know how to communicate. We know how to ask the right questions. We obviously don't make assumptions of each other, and if we do, it definitely doesn't help. I've definitely heard you talk a hell of a lot in the past 2 years, and now have learned a lot about a lot of different things. But yeah, it's been really good. It's been good, but it's been hard.
Yeah, it goes through waves of stressfulness too. Like, you know, I think when I was thinking about this topic and what we were going to say, one of the big things I think that helps us specifically is that we have different core skill sets, but similar attributes.
Yes.
So, you know, like Pauline's, you know, amazing. You know, like I've said it to the team, but I'm a little bit like a cyclone. So I come in and kick a heap of dust up, and then Cam and Pauline and the rest of the team go and put the buildings back together. But you need that someone to ruffle up feathers, and you need someone that can put it back together. So that's you know, so that's at its core. You know, my you know, obviously not sending the technical side of marketing, but you know, the sales side and the shaking hands. You know, that's really my strength. And then Pauline's strengths, dotting I's and crossing T's, which are both important in an agency or any business. But I think where it kind of works is that we have a lot of overlapping skills as well. You know, Pauline can pick up a phone and have a conversation as well. And she can sell as well as I can in her own way what we do. And then I can also do a little bit of paperwork, and it's not completely out of my skill set to be able to do paperwork and do a little bit of project management as well. So we have enough difference in our skill sets that we're not constantly stepping on each other's toes, but we have enough complementary skill sets that we have each other's back if one of us is struggling with the workload. Yeah.
Well, just this morning you had to step in and organize Photoshop and send off an email for someone. So yeah, it definitely helps to have skills in all areas.
But see, the interesting thing with that too is we both could have done that.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's just more like at the time, the best person to do that was myself, because I was in the office.
Yes. I would have had to organise the laptop and sort of make sure the kids were organised and stuff like that, and try to do it before we were going on holidays. Whereas Jimmy had already gone down to the office to achieve some other things, so I said, "Can you please add this to your list?"
Yes.
And we got on holidays quicker because of it. So.
And I think that's another thing too is, you know, we have the luxury, I suppose, of you know, being together for a long time. And I'll tell a little bit of a story after this as well about, you know, early in our relationship, how we went traveling and how that was a big part of it. But I think also too, you know, one of the things that I think has helped us is that we don't, as much as we have transactional conversations at work, we don't let the little niggly things that would upset one of us upset us. So like if you ask me to help you, I don't go, oh, I'm doing my own stuff, or I just help, and vice versa.
And that probably answers one of the questions actually I've just seen come through. It says, how do you stop work struggles from coming home with you?
Let's answer that question.
And you partially answered it, but we don't really have conversations of work at home unless it's really, really important. So if we both get home at 5, 6 o'clock, work doesn't come in the door unless it's something very urgent that a customer has asked about that either of us need to ask the other person a question. A great example was when it did come home, we had an email at 9:30 at night from a customer and we had to answer it. So it does obviously come home with you, but you have to try not to. You have to try as soon as you walk in the door that it's then actually family time or couple time, not work time.
Yeah, and that was a big adjustment for me because that was a very big adjustment actually, because when Pauline was when we were living in the wheat belt and I was working for Boatman's, I had a full day of different things coming up that Pauline didn't know about. So when we were at home, we'd have conversations about what I did today, what Pauline did today, because we were doing
different things.
Yeah, we had different lives during the day.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen now because we do the same thing and we see each other all day.
Yeah.
So we get home and, I might ask a couple of questions about the team because I'm in an office. And so like, I don't catch everything that the team does. So I might ask Pauline, how did Haley go today? Or how did this go? Might be 5 or 10 minutes, but then we go and talk about, I try and talk about other things. Because, from the very start, even financially, when we weren't ready to, we've had an office. So I said to Pauline when we got the office, because we weren't earning enough to justify it, but I said, I don't want to be working at home. I want to have home and work. So I have to physically go to a place and frame my thoughts around working and then come home, and I could just turn off that side. Unless I explicitly want to deal with it. But I feel like if I had a home office, it would be 7:39 when the kids are at bed.
We do sit on the couch and still work on our laptops, but it would be different if we were permanently at home doing that.
Yeah. If you had an actual office set up at home that was good to work at, I could just see us both going into the office after the kids go to bed and doing another 3 hours of work. Which isn't. I don't personally think that's that healthy.
No.
You need to, it was a big bit of advice I got when we started, is you've got to have enough left in the tank for crunches, like time crunches. So, if you're working like 15 hours a day every day and that's your like norm, if you actually need to work 15 hours a day or 18 hours a day to get something done, you just don't have anything left in the tank. Whereas if you work 8, 10 hours a day, 9 hours a day or whatever, then if you have to do a big spurt of short-term 15-hour days, you have enough left in the tank to mentally to be able to do that. So like if you had the office at home, I don't know if you can do that, but that's where maybe Paul and I differ a little bit, because when I get home, I literally don't do any work. I literally sit down and I'll play a game or watch TV. And generally nothing really to do work unless there's something explicitly I'm trying to learn. Whereas in the last couple of weeks, you've come home and you've actually been working.
Yeah, but that's only because we're changing systems.
Yes.
And like I don't get enough time during the day to sort out that side. Whereas if I sit down at home, then I can at least concentrate on that side of it. Because at work, there's different questions going on and projects need to be sorted. So I found if I just sit down and do it at nighttime, then I can concentrate.
So there's another question here from Brandon. Hello, Brandon. Hello. Okay, so the question is, how do you deal with choices and outcomes in the workplace that you disagree on? Well, I mean, you guys can probably see, we're lucky Brandon is part of the team. Dan is part of the team. We asked him to throw us a couple of questions because we weren't sure if people were going to ask him. But Brandon, it's a good question because we made this decision pretty early on, as a relationship philosophy as opposed to a business philosophy more than that. And, Paul and I, again, interrupt as you see fit if it's not how you feel about this, but we operate as one unit in life. So, we're married. Even before we were married, we operate as one unit, as one front. And then if we have disagreements, we generally stay a united front and then have conversations with it after the fact. So, you guys would have seen it at work a couple of times where we've had disagreements. Generally, it will just be, it will start to blow up and then it will just stop like pretty much instantly, because we both stick to that policy. And if we're both on the same page with that, we can have conversations outside of work, which we do. Not that often, but we do have conversations outside of work.
Yeah, sometimes. Just depends on what it is, really.
Yeah. And we just talk about, was that, I didn't like the way you did that, or, just those kind of like holding each other accountable to decisions we make. Yeah. And that seems to work well, because like, in the workplace, especially if you're both directors or you're both in key positions, you've got a whole team that has to listen to both of you. So if you are in that situation with your significant other and you're having disagreements in regards to thoughts, and this doesn't just go for partners, this just goes for key personnel in general, like that can make decisions for the business. If you have disagreements in regards to philosophies, then you need to make sure whatever you say to the team is united, because like if we both had different ideas about something, and then when one of the team came up to us, I said one thing and then Pauline said the other thing, who do they listen to? It creates a whole bunch of stress in the workplace, because you're asking them to make a decision based that they know is impossible to be right. If you say something and then I'm like, oh, actually, now go and do this, then, what does Brandon do? He goes, oh, well, Pauline's told me to do this. They're both my boss.
Yeah.
I don't actually know.
Then it goes like, how do they then trust our decision-making skills is the same as well? Because if we both tell you to do things and you go, maybe I'll just pick the middle, then you're obviously not trusting either of our opinions. So it needs to be the same opinion. Otherwise, it's not going to be trusted at all.
Yeah. And we have differing opinions all the time on things. But we just also have a philosophy.
Went blurry.
What's that, sorry?
We went blurry.
Oh, sorry. We also have a philosophy around, we've informally spoken about this, but more just around like picking your battles with stuff. Like we can, there's lots of little things that bug me, and there's lots of things that bug Pauline, no doubt. But you got to pick your battles and go, is this actually worth planting my flag in the ground? Because if you do that too often, if you plant your flag in the ground too often, then it loses effect. And I know for a fact that if I put my flag in the ground and go, like, this is important to me, this needs to be done this way, to Pauline, she goes, well, actually, like, we don't do that. It doesn't do that very often. It must be important. And vice versa. If Pauline puts her flag in the ground and I'm like, actually, obviously it's very important because she doesn't do that very often. Yeah. So I think that's another part of it too, is knowing where the battles actually should be. And then I suppose having them in a civil manner too. Yeah. We don't necessarily argue that much. So
no, I think there's only been a couple of times that we really have argued in the office, and I was like, "Ooh, we probably shouldn't have done that." But
yeah, because it's not healthy for the team. It's like it's like seeing your parents argue. Yeah, that's honestly, it is. It may not be formally like that, but if you see, because it's like you respect both people, they have different opinions, and then creating an argument about it makes it a binary thing. So they literally have to pick one side or the other. Yeah. Because you can't sit in the middle of that. No. So, but yeah, I like to think we've done a pretty good job of not airing our laundry in a setting that can affect other people too much. And look, the team that's watching can attest that I have my blow-ups. Like yesterday I had a pretty decent blow-up, but it wasn't really directed at anyone. But and Pauline's the same as the rest of the team is. But yeah, I think that, getting back to your question, I think our couples that argue in public, and I want to qualify this by going, we don't have the answers, right? We're not sitting here going, oh, we're the best couple in the world, because we're not. But it's more just like observational and what we do, right? Yeah. And I just find that if couples that do argue in public, with each other, I feel like it's a bit of a lack of respect thing. You know, like you should respect your partner enough to know that this is putting them in a very uncomfortable situation. And personality-wise, they're probably, you know, if you don't back down from a fight, can escalate very quickly too. And so, like, it's very important to, you know, I think that's part of the reason A, we've been married, been together so long, and B, we're able to work together full time, is because we respect each other enough not to go, actually, let's make this a public battle to try and sway public opinion and have those conversations in private.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's answers that question, guys. If you have any more questions, just throw them in the chat and they'll pop up on the side here. All right, let's talk about you know, some of the things you feel like you know, some of the key takeaways in the last couple of years that you've sort of taken away that have helped make it working together full time.
I like the saying that you had a couple of weeks ago about like hold yourself in high standard, but the other person.
Oh yeah. So hold so have low standards but have high expectations.
Yes, right. I think that works really well because I know that you wouldn't get my job done to the high standard that I need, but I know you'd get it done if you needed to.
Yes.
Right. So, and that's just how we work. So jobs have to flow between the two of us. So it comes from Jimmy to myself. I then know that I haven't got all the information and I have to go back. But I go back with a list of questions that I know need to be answered. I don't just go in there and go, oh, is there anything else I need to know? Because he's not going to tell me, because he's not going to know what I need to know. So I know how to extract the information that I need from you.
Yes.
Yes. That's how I think it's worked.
Yeah. So to elaborate on that, on the saying, I heard it from it was actually in a video about couples of all things. It was Alex Hormozi and Layla Hormozi, which are entrepreneurs, and Layla said the secret to a happy professional marriage business relationship is to have low standards of your partner, but exceedingly high expectations of yourself. So the best, Pauline put it very succinctly in it's you know, so like I have low standards. So like, okay, so changing a tire in the car, right? Obviously there is a way that I would do it, and then there's a way Pauline would do it. Now, I think where the confusion and disconnection comes is like, if you have high standards, then if Pauline doesn't do it exactly this way I would do it, because my standards are very high of myself, and they're also high of Pauline, then you're going to question whether she's done it or she's been lazy, or whether because she hasn't done the nut up properly or whatever. But if she's got high expectations of herself, which is like she wants to get it done and do it, but it's not exactly how you would do it, that's what that means. So you know, that's a very good example. It's like she knows that if she asks me to do something like paperwork, I'm going to give it a good crack, and I have a very high expectation of myself to do it. So I'm not going to be lazy or anything like that. But Pauline may get it, and it may not be how she would have done it or 100% right. You know, she knows that. Well, at least I tried, and I've given it all the effort I have.
Yeah.
As opposed to just being like, oh no, I just half do it because I know Pauline will do it, sort of thing. Got a couple more questions in here. So Cam, the man, the third leg of the tripod of MyOnlineGuy. How do you deal with maintaining personal space? Yeah. It's a good question. I mean,
that's why he moved to the office, Cam.
Yeah.
Yes. Multiple hints of get out of my space and get in your own office.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, you know, it's a good point. You know, like we're pretty lucky that, you know, relationship wise, we don't necessarily need huge amounts of personal space. Well, I don't.
Maybe we should tell them about how we went backpacking for 9 months.
Oh, yeah, that's a good segue
we were
to that.
literally in each other's pocket for 9 months.
All right, so 10 years ago now.
Yeah, 2012.
So I got out of the Navy, and Paul and I started traveling. We went backpacking for 7 months around the world. Yeah. Josh, we'll answer that question in a sec, Josh. That's quite funny. So we went backpacking for 7 months. Literally old school, 2 backpacks.
Yeah.
Asia, Europe, and America. And I said to Pauline, just in passing, that I thought it was actually quite telling. I said to Pauline when we were leaving for Singapore, I said to her, one or two things will happen after this 7 months. We'll either be good friends, break up, be good friends, and just be friends.
Shake hands and say goodbye.
Yeah, or shake hands and say goodbye, or we'll be together forever. Because when you're traveling and backpacking, you're literally in each other's pockets for 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
We didn't take phones or anything with us, so if Pauline went somewhere, I kind of had to go with her, and vice versa. Because quite frankly, Pauline's is only 5'2". I just felt an obligation to help, to make sure that nothing happened to her as well. But also just traveling that way, you got no phones.
Yeah.
So you kind of just have to make sure you're within earshot of each other, basically.
And then we dealt with, I don't know how many times we had like sicknesses and gastro and things like that. So you just try and help the other person out. Like one person's out for the whole day. Well, you've got to go and get some kind of food and drinks to sort them out. But you know that they can't come with you. So you have to explain to that person, like, I'm going to be half an hour. I'm going to such and such. Like, if I'm not back, please send help.
Yes.
But you have to have that understanding that there's two of you and you can't just pick up the phone and say, I'm just 5 minutes down the road, because it wasn't going to work like that. And there was a very good example in China when we both were arguing about something, and I ended up having to back down because I knew he was right, but I didn't want to tell him he was right.
and also, like, you had no choice, because it's like we had to go and stay in the same room. Yeah, that was in China when you threw the book on the ground, right? I did throw the book.
I thought I threw it at you, but I think it ended up on the ground.
Oh, you may have missed me, but it was more just like when you're that close, when you're literally like this for 7 months.
Yeah. Trains, planes, ferries, buses.
And like literally, there was times on that trip where we slept on a single bed and Pauline basically laid on me. Like that's how like lack of personal space it was. And I think it was very telling, because like we got back and I felt like closer than ever with Pauline. So I was like, well, if we can survive 7 months like that, which is a very inherently stressful situation, we'll be right. There's not really going to be anything else as bad as that. Being sleeping on a single bed in Hong Kong or whatever, and you're sleeping on top of me. Or I remember in Chicago, we were couch surfing, and this guy only had a single bed, or like a little double bed, and basically I had to sleep with. So for us to fit on the bed, Pauline slept on the bed. I had to sleep with like 3/4 of myself on the bed and my shoulder on a shoebox because my shoulders were too big for the bed. So I basically slept on a part of a shoebox to keep my shoulder up. If you're willing to do that with the person you're with, then like an argument in the business is not going to be that bad. I'm going to answer Josh's question quickly, and I'll wheel back to yourself, Chelsea. Josh has said, what do you do if she sexually harasses you? I generally just smile. It's a good point. I mean, obviously, Josh, it's in jest, but I think it's a good point. I think, we're pretty openly affectionate at work too. I think we've created an environment that's quite casual in the office, and like we're reasonably, affectionate, not like snoggy in the middle of the office or anything, but like, it's an interesting point. I openly welcome it from Pauline, but like I don't know if that's the politically correct thing to say. But it's a good question, Josh.
Take it up with HR.
Take it up with HR, which is Pauline. So I'll put a complaint into the HR department. And then Chelsea has said, "How do you guys?"
Have you guys?
Oh, you want to read it?
Have you guys had to make sacrifices in your relationship to manage working together?
Yeah, I'm going to answer this.
Okay.
Yes, not in the way that you would traditionally think is the case. Hello, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh well, dogs.
We've got dogs sitting.
All right, dogs. Out. Not in the traditional way you'd think, though, right? And this is just my thoughts. So like, when I was working full time, and Pauline was, at home and just doing her business and stuff, I'd get home, and I probably did a lot less than I should have. And it wasn't necessarily because of out of lack of respect and stuff. I was just like, I've been working all day. when you're working together in the same business, doing equally important stuff, that shit don't fly. You can't just get away with going, oh, I've had a long day. So like personal sacrifice, and it's probably not the right word for it, but like something I've had to adjust to and change is I've been trying to help out a lot more at home, adjusting my hours. So like sacrificing maybe when I go to the gym and stuff like that to make sure that I'm home in the morning to help Pauline get ready with the kids, with the boys, home in the afternoon to help make a dinner every now and again. I don't make every dinner, but like I'll try and make a couple, because I'd feel incredibly guilty if I was going to Pauline every night and going, oh,
where's dinner?
Yeah, where's dinner? When she's worked just as hard as I have. So that I know that it's not like I've never personally sacrificed anything in a relationship wise. Well, I don't know, have we?
I can't think of an exact example except for like what you're saying is sacrificing like time, or maybe you wanted to sit on the couch kind of thing, and I've said, well, we need to put the kids to bed, or there's a load of washing to go on the line and that kind of stuff. We put the washing on the line about 8:30 at night. But yeah, I don't think there's many other sacrifices other than not in relation.
Time-wise, I've done a lot. I personally have done a lot of late nights because it's not that I don't want to spend time with Pauline and the kids. It's more just I get a lot done at night time. So sometimes I've wheeled into the office and done that, and we've sacrificed a fair bit of like quality of life things to get the business off the ground. But that's sacrificing together for a better good, not necessarily me personally sacrificing anything.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean like short sacrifices. It hasn't been anything major.
No, it's not like we live a pretty good life considering how modestly we work at times. But yeah, I think that's another key takeaway here is like, it hasn't been we've never kept checks on like who's winning or losing in regards to like who does what job around the house or who's doing more hours at work. Even when I was working full time and Pauline wasn't working like in Victoria, I never turned around and said, oh, well, I do all the work, it should be my money or whatever like that. Yeah. I reckon that's like the single biggest, easiest way to get to the end of a relationship is if you start, because it's not necessarily about the money. It's about the thought process behind it. So like I've never said that.
No, because you go into a marriage together, you go into business together, everything is ours.
Yes.
Not yours, not mine. Like everything, the time is ours, the kids are ours. Like, you don't single out one person and just say, oh, you can't have that because that money's mine. Like it's not the way to deal with it. It's
a bit self-serving too, right? Like I always wanted Pauline to be a part of this venture with myself, MyOnlineGuy. I wanted Pauline to be a part of it because it's nice that we're in the same boat, whether we like it or not. And we had like a month ago where Pauline was real upset, just stresses, and I was like, well, we're in the same boat. We're heading in the same direction. Like, we either jump out of the boat or keep going in the same direction. But I think I think this is one of the key, very, very, very big positives. There's a lot of negatives, but there's one very, very big positive of being in a relationship and working full time together is you have a very, very good understanding of what you're trying to achieve together because you're trying to achieve the same goal. So if I have to go at 7 o'clock at night back to the office for 3 hours, there hasn't been a time where Pauline's gone, oh yeah, but you're missing out on time. Pauline's just like, well, you just got to do what you got to do.
It's actually quite relaxing because then I get to do what I want to do.
Yeah, look, we got one TV, so like I think a lot of it is like Pauline gets over watching YouTube all day, but yeah, I think I know when we get home and we've both had a big day and we're not necessarily talking to each other, there's no like obligation to go, oh, actually I've got to talk to Pauline because she's been sitting here all day by doing nothing, twiddling her thumbs. No. We can sit there quite comfortably on the couch, just unwinding because we're basically doing exactly the same thing, going through the same problems. Then Cam has asked, who is the real boss and why is it Pauline? I think, you joke, but it's a truth. I think
because it's like this, isn't it, under the thumb?
Yeah. Look, whether that's by design or not, I don't know, but I think in all seriousness, specifically with that question, I think it's a good point. I've never ever thought of myself as being the boss of Pauline, even in this situation. Even when we've worked, odds and ends with each other, a boss. She's a human being with her own life, with her own goals and everything like that. You can't, even our team, technically we pay the bills, but I'm very clear with the team. Like, yes, I'm their boss. At the end of the day, the decisions are with us, but that's more because we've taken all the risk on. We've got a lot of creative individuals in the team.
But I don't feel like your boss.
No, that's what I'm getting at. Is like, I think that comes down to a respect thing.
Yeah. I might come off as I'm the boss because I tell him what to do, but I don't think so.
I celebrate it too. I think it's a good thing to have that as candid a relationship with do. Whereas I'm comfortable with my own skill set and everything to be able to say that and go, Pauline's the boss. I don't need to prove anything. You don't need to prove anything.
No.
So it's like it's an interchangeable role between us. Sometimes I'm the boss and I wear the boss hat.
Yeah.
Sometimes Pauline's the boss and wears the boss hat. Sometimes Cam's the boss and wears the boss hat. It's an interchangeable part of who we are, because we're one unit, right? So like when Cam said that because he likes having a joke, but like in the business, they know that if they go to Pauline, it's like going to me. And if they go to me, it's like going to Pauline. There's no need to like check with both of us. It's like we just symbiotically operate as one unit, and we make the key decisions about different things. Like the other day, a mate of mine pointed out a new project management system. Remember that? And I was super pumped about it because I thought it was going to do a real good job. And then Cam and Pauline pulled it apart. And then realized it probably wasn't the best fit for us and made the decision when we're not running with it, even though I was super pumped and excited about it. I went, well, look, that's cool. It's not my baby, like it's your decision to make really, because.
Yeah, but that was when like you have to pull things apart like that. Like it's a great idea. And that's actually how we work. He has a great idea and he goes, I think we should do this. Then I go away and think about it for a little while. And then I come back to him and say, did you think about this? And did you think about this? And then he's like, yeah, okay. Well, maybe we'll do it a different way. So that's kind of also how we work. And that's what happened the other day, is that you told us a great idea. We said, hang on a minute, let's just check it out. Here's our information. And you went, okay, that's fair enough. Let's try that down the track, like a year, 6 months to a year later kind of thing.
Yeah, and inversely too, what it was brought to my attention, being in the military makes you really, really good at assessing threats. It's your only job in the Navy, military essentially, is to assess threats and make decisions very quickly about them. So I have a very, very good eye for threats. So like, Pauline knows that's one of my strengths. So like if I have one eye on something and I'm keeping an eye on something, she knows that I'm keeping an eye out for everyone, family, the team, everything like that.
Yeah.
So like there's some things that you will go slow down on, but there's some things you're like, actually, I just trust your judgment on that because you're got a better eye on that than I do. So I think it's a lot of that. Josh, love you, man. Proud of what you achieved so far in the business, and a lot of it has to do with the fact you have an awesome partner.
Thanks, Josh.
100%, dude. You're one of the inspirations for starting this, to be fair. We talked about this like 7 years ago. Look, 100% the business would not succeed. If it was just Cam and I, we'd fumble along.
It was Cam and yourself.
Yeah, but even that. But even that, you were helping us.
Yeah, but not to the extent I was helping now. Like I was doing the invoicing and I was doing a few other bits and pieces, but I wasn't like 2 feet in. I still had a kid at home kind of thing and that kind of stuff. And then obviously when it came down to the crunch and we needed someone else, we couldn't afford someone else. And that's when I said, right, okay, I'll step up. And from there, that's where it's gone. So I have had my meltdowns during the time because obviously it's hard to deal with 2 kids and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been good.
I don't think you give yourself enough credit in that aspect because, like, take the invoicing, for example. I don't think anyone in the business could do that right now. And that's obviously something we have to, like, that's a risk. But, like, I think people don't appreciate, like, in everything in life, there's the quarterbacks. There's the full forward, there's the center half forwards that get all the credit. And then there's the full back that just does the job, but without them, the team wouldn't succeed.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of little things like, you know, sorting out a little newsletter or, you know, these Shopify sites and stuff that there's actually no one in the business that could do that either. Like get the pieces in place for it to make it work. I get all the credit, and I'm the quarterback because it's my face everywhere, right? But without Cam and yourself and the rest of the team, especially yourself, like because you have a very intimate understanding of the business, but it just wouldn't. Like the quarterback's got to have someone to throw to.
Yeah,
you can hand a quarterback a ball and they can throw it 90 yards, but if there's no running backs or anything to catch it or wide receivers, then
what do you do?
What's the point of having a quarterback? Exactly. Yeah. You need every part of the team, and I think, like we put it this way, the whole team notices when you're not there, so that's a good sign, right? So that's but yeah, thank you very much, Josh. It does help a lot having an awesome partner, obviously, admittedly, you can see that, but more just someone that is in literally the same boat. Where it's both our money, we're both in the same situation. So like when I talk to Pauline about critical, it's nice to have someone to bounce off that has a very, very good intimate understanding of the problem.
Yeah.
So like if Pauline wasn't involved in the business, and we've been like this in the past, Pauline's not involved in the business, have a conversation with her. She can only understand so much of it based on my explanation. I'm going to have a certain amount of bias involved, right? So if I'm saying, oh, we need to do this, and I'm a good salesperson, so I'll sell my concept or idea. Because Pauline's in the business as well, I can't just sell her on a concept because she sees what I see. So
right through.
Yeah. So like when we were looking at moving offices, I wanted to move into a big, nice, flash office. But Pauline's seen what I seen. We couldn't afford that. So it's like, you know, I was like geeing myself up and like trying to justify it. But then I had someone to bounce off that was able to calm me down. And Cam's a very important part of the team. But then also that same problem applies. So I think that's been definitely a secret weapon to our success, is having two people that are thinking about the problems from different angles.
Yeah. And
then that have enough say in the decision to be able to affect change as appropriate.
Yeah.
So I think it's our secret weapon. I know there's a lot of other agencies or businesses out there that wish they had a Pauline in it to be able to just bounce ideas off, you know, civilly and you know, from all different points of views. Now, got Brandon again.
Pauline's a very sought after.
Oh yeah. There's very lucky to have a Pauline, that's for sure. Do you think any married couples could learn to work well in a business together, or do you think some people are better equipped to balance work and life like you guys?
I think some people are definitely better equipped.
Yeah.
I don't think I could see certain people in business together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely takes a certain type of personality and attitude, maybe.
100%. If I didn't think Paul and I could work together in the business, I probably would have steered her away from helping.
Gee, someone's trying to spam us. Yeah, like there's been times that I've decided to have days off because I'm just like, there's just too much going on, that I was like, okay, let's just have a day off. But then I'm fine after that. So I think there just has to be that understanding. And Jimmy was actually the one that said, I think you should take a day off a week because there's just too much going on. So that's where that communication, and that's how we work well together, is he knew what I needed when I hadn't even told him yet, kind of thing. So I don't think every couple thinks that way or acts that way. But there's certain people out there that probably could.
I think where we're lucky is that we probably haven't had to. When I was saying about, I said it before and went, oh, that's not the right explanation for it, but we haven't had to work as hard, I think, as other partners in business together to make it work.
Yeah.
Because we had a lot of everything set up. We've been practicing this for this moment for years. You know, just how closely we work together on everything. So like, you know, we got together in this business. It was like, it was just a natural, it was just an extension of what we kind of did already in a different environment.
Yeah, well, we already had so back when I think Liam was little, Jimmy decided that, oh, let's buy a business. However, Pauline, you'll be running the business, but let's buy the business. And I was like, hold up. Anyway, we did it. And that's probably when we started working together. So he would have all the brains and the ideas, and then I'd go ahead and do it. And then he got a bit busy and stuff like that. So I took it on. But we have technically been in business for many, many years previous to this, actually. Probably, since 2015, I think we bought Peaky Me. So, yeah, it's probably been more like 7 years, but it wasn't obviously full-time like we are now. It was, you were still working full-time, and then I was doing the business, but he'd come home and he'd had good ideas and things like that. So, yeah, we've probably been working together for a lot longer than what you think.
Yeah. This is like the first formal, like, where we've both been prime time in it. But, you know, Pauline's had, you know, I've had shenanigans going on. Pauline's had shenanigans going on. And then, you know, I'd support Pauline in some of them. She'd support me in a lot of them because a lot of them were my shenanigans, admittedly. But yeah, I think...
well, my two businesses that I had on the side weren't actually my idea. They were Jimmy's idea, and said, I think we should buy these. But technically I'd have to run them. So I was like, oh, okay, great idea.
I also think it's part of the reason we work well together, because like we play to our strengths, which, you know, I have ADHD, very open about that in other videos and stuff. One of the key strengths of that is abstract thought and very, very obscure thought processes that create ideas that not everyone can think like, you know, like I like to think I can see things that other people can't in very specific circumstances.
You definitely keep us on our toes. I can tell you that. You definitely keep me on my toes nearly every day with an idea. So...
Yeah, but then Pauline helps to rationalize those ideas. So that, because like that's the thing, like if I wasn't with Pauline, you know, regardless of married or whatever, if Pauline wasn't in my sphere of influence as a friend or whatever, I'd probably be broke by now, because I would have gone down the rabbit hole and then moved down to a different rabbit hole. And, you know, there's no one there to actually help see this stuff through. So Pauline, you know, that's part of the reason why I think MyOnlineGuy has been successful too, is because it's not just me and it's not affecting me. It's like you're as much involved as I am. So that keeps me driven to make this just go as far as it's going to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back to what I was saying, I don't think it's been as bigger. Like you hear horror stories of people going into business together, regardless of they're married or not. You hear horror stories, right? Yeah. And you get told do not do it. Yeah. It's highly recommended that you don't do it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's actually been that bad.
No. There's been ups and downs, like there's always ups and downs, but it hasn't been to the point where we're like, all right, we've got to stop this. Like, let's sell it. Let's get out. Let's do this. No, I don't think so
either.
No.
So Dan's asked, do you think it's your similarities or your complementary differences that make you work together? Make you work well together? That's a good question.
Complementary differences. We definitely are different, especially in the way we think.
Yep.
I don't know. We have similarities, but we have differences as well.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
We have enough complementary skill sets, similar skill sets that allow us to be able to basically go two heads are better than one sort of situations. But then we have enough complementary differences that we can spread our skills over a very, very broad range of skill sets.
Yeah.
So like, you know, between us, we're like a drop-in unit of like, what do you need to start a business and run a business? I have a lot of ability to sell and technical ability, and Pauline has a lot of operational ability. So like, yeah, I think we were just designed as a couple to work like this and work in a business together or work together very closely.
Yeah.
Are other people like that? I don't know. I don't know if it'll work if Pauline and I were both just real gun salespeople, or, you know, Pauline was a real estate broker and I was a real estate broker and we decided to do this. I don't know if it'll work because we'd have too many similar skill sets.
Yeah, like you're saying, like I hold back and don't want to spend the money to move forward kind of thing, whereas Jimmy goes, I think we need to spend money to make money, and I go, okay, well, you can have X amount kind of thing, and we keep like
we have middle grounds all the time with that stuff. Yeah, because that's it.
It's kind of saying the same but different.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's what it is, right? Like, if you had two people that were too similar running a business together, then you would just either be too risky or too risk averse.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Yeah.
Whereas because we're both sides of that spectrum.
Yeah.
Or somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
There's enough like ebb and flow of that it makes it work. So I think that's the answer to that question. Now, I think our chat's actually died, so this might be a good time to jump off. Yeah, guys, this has been really good. Let us know if you want us to do this again. I really enjoy obviously doing this kind of thing, and Pauline's obviously a natural, as you can see, at this. But guys, if you have any questions in the meantime, because we're like I said, we're technically on holiday. You know, you can see like we're literally in a holiday house, so we're going to go enjoy the rest of it. But yeah, guys, if you have any other questions, just let us know. Not that we're here to give advice or anything, because we're still learning, but you know, we have been together.
We could help with something.
Yeah, I'm sure there's things that we can help out because we have different perspectives on the same topics. So yeah, so let us know if this has been valuable, and you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Oh, do you have any?
We will be enjoying our weekend.
We will be. Do you have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I think just don't hound the other person. Like if something doesn't go your way, don't hound them about it, kind of thing. Like we were saying before, arguments need to stay either at work or become a united front, because it's not one or the other, it's both of you. So yeah, it's a good point. I don't know if that made sense, but
no, it did. It did. It's like it's picking your battles.
Yeah.
You know, not we've got a couple friends, or we have had a lot. We don't actually have that many at the moment, but we have a lot of friends that have been in relationships, and I see it all. You see it all the time. You can pick the relationships that you would think, wait a minute, you know, like little things like calling your partner out in public on something.
Yeah, don't do that.
You know, it's something we both discussed very early in the piece. I think also too, having an open line of communication with each other. So if something does bug you, you can have an adult conversation about it.
Yeah.
Articulate why that's not why you don't like it, and then form a middle ground between it. So, you know, like I told Pauline very early in the piece, like one thing that will kill us as a team and a relationship is if you call me out in public on something. You know, like there's a time and place for that, and it's not in front of a group of other people.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I might have a Freudian slip, say something that maybe not true, or you know, embellish or something.
Yeah.
Don't call people.
And then our big one, do not make assumptions.
Yes.
And do not think the other person can read your mind, because they can't.
Yeah, that's been a work in progress, and we still run into that. That's if we argue about anything, it's generally about that. Yeah. But we rarely argue. Like we've argued like 8 times in 16 years or something. It's not negligible amount, but like we do argue about that because, you know, I'll do things like forget, you know, like just those little annoying bugbear things. Yeah. And they boil over some point.
They do.
But we never let those arguments get to the point where it's like, you know, you're sleeping out, I'm sleeping outside or anything. We just, one of us eventually backs down because it's like, it's not worth.
There's always an underlying issue. There's always an underlying issue of why that's become an issue, like why it's boiled over and become an issue. There's always something underlying. There's a core issue. And you just need to figure out what that core issue is, and then you can have a chat about it. Yeah. That's how we work. So yeah. And
Von will leave on this. So myonlinecouple.com.au or myonlinebosses.com.au. Both work.
Yeah,
both work.
Just both.
We better register them, or someone might take them.
Yep.
Couples therapy, couples therapy,
meditation.
and then relax and have a fun holiday from.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then no, we're going to finish this up. Actually, not drinking. Haven't had a drink in 3 months. So I've got my.
We will just pretend.
We've got my Pepsi Max. Guys, thanks so much for jumping on, and we'll see you all next week.